The federal workforce. Most aren't deep state, but many are obsolete, either wittingly or unwittingly, and they're counterproductive in a lot of cases. There are federal employees who have been paid for years without doing any meaningful work. Thanks to union protections and bureaucratic red tape, they've made it nearly impossible to fire underperformers. They put them on indefinite administrative leave. For example, a 2016 Government Accountability Office report found that some federal employees remain on paid administrative leave for months or even years, costing taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars with no productivity in return. Adding, quote, neither the government-wide cost nor the frequency and total amount of paid administrative leave have been reviewed or reported extensively. Because of course, it hasn't. It's not their money. So who cares? Not them, but we certainly care. There's a new Supreme Court ruling that has just given the Trump administration broad authority to reshape the federal workforce through terminations. Rod Martin was part of the team that started PayPal. He's the founder CEO of Martin Capital, and he publishes on Substack the Rob Martin Report, and he's got a thread out that breaks down all of this important jurisprudence coming out of the Supreme Court. Good to see you, my friend. Tell us why this Supreme Court decision on President Trump's power over the federal workforce matters.
Well, it's good to be here, and so appreciate your show. It matters a lot. I mean, if you don't actually have the power at the White House, in the Oval Office, to be able to hire and fire people, you really don't have an executive branch at all. You just have an unelected administrative branch, which is nowhere in the Constitution, and it necessarily is unaccountable to anybody. So what the Supreme Court is doing and this additional ruling today is just vital. It says that Article 2, Section 1 really means it when it says the executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States. He's the only person in that branch we elect. We have that election every 4 years precisely so we can overthrow our government every 4 years peacefully. And if the voters can't get their way, then elections don't really matter.
How would you suggest the administration use this newly clarified articulation of that power?
Well, they need to go for more. They clearly need to get Humphrey's executor overturned. That is a 1930s era ruling that further limits the president in a number of respects. But the biggest single thing they can do right this minute is slash and burn. And you see them doing that at the Department of Education. Just got a Supreme Court ruling 6-3 today on that. They need to do it in a lot of the federal bureaucracy because honestly, these people, these deep staters, do not have your interests at heart. These are people who are careerists. They aren't elected, and heretofore they haven't been fireable. So now we're seeing a president willing to stand up to that. And if we need to replace some of those people, that's fine. Donald Trump can replace them with people who will be responsive to his policies and to the electorate. And if we don't need to replace them, we can just save a ton of money.
The frustrations are notable that President Trump did not get all of the spending cuts I think he wanted out of Congress. We've seen time and again Congress fail to deliver spending cuts. Is this the tool that can actually give us the reductions in government we want alongside the policy wins that President Trump secured in the reconciliation bill?
It's one of them, and clearly Congress is much inferior without you, Matt. So there's no getting around that. But the truth of the matter is we're going to send up, this administration is going to send up a bunch of rescission bills, not just the one currently up, which eliminates a huge amount of funding that was going to not just NPR and PBS, but also USAID, which turned out to be nothing but a Democrat slush fund, utilized for the sterilization of 300,000 Native women in Latin America and the overthrow of God only knows how many governments. And so that first rescission bill is a good start, but it's only about $9.8 billion. We need a whole lot more than that, and I think the president's going to deliver.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how the legislative rescissions align with some of these administrative actions that can be taken to just clear out the dead wood in a lot of these agencies. And I'm with you. I hope the Department of Education gets the extensive use of this new clarified power. Rod Martin, he is publishing at Substack, the Rod Martin Report. Thanks so much for coming on, my friend.
Thank you.